Welcome to the Dresden Files panel, celebrating 20 years of the Dresden Files book series, and welcome to the Dresden Files was. There will be spoilers in this discussion, so if you haven't read the series, especially Peace Talks and Battlegrounds, you will be spoiled. So, joining me, I am Tony Artem, and we've got a couple other panelists joining who are very big Dresden Files fans, as well as pizza lovers. Who are all of you?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Erickson, big Dresden Files fanatic, I guess, and I'm got cosplay of Molly going right now, the Winter Lady.
I'm Tim Strong, and I've been a fan of Dresden Files for a number of years now, and I've probably listened to them more than any of my other books.
I'm Crystal Therese. I really only discovered the books in the last, less than a decade, but I think I devoured the first 12 in like 6 months.
Not hard to do.
Oh, wow. So yeah, this last year has been quite the incredible year for Dresden File fans with 2 books, which was a surprise. We knew that one book was coming, and that was Peace Talks. And then when the trailer launched, we found out we were getting 2 books, and of course there is a story behind that. But what we're going to do is just reflect and talk, and there will be spoilers, and if you guys have any questions, let us know, and we're going to talk about it. But my first question is probably goes over to Molly, is where's the pizza for this panel?
Harry forgot to bring it.
Of course he did. Of course he did. So with Peace Talks coming out first, it was originally going to be a 1-book series, but because it was so big, Jim had to split it into 2. Originally, the book was going to be around $50, and Jim didn't want to break his publisher's bank budget and be known as the most expensive author under the publisher. So they went back in, and he decided to expand secondary storylines as well as other stories within Peace Talks, leaving Battlegrounds pretty much intact, but just adding a few things here and there. There were a couple shocking moments in there, some great humor, like the frozen pizza bit. I think was fun. I don't know where you all want to start, but if you have an idea, I think one of the more shocking, besides the obvious spoiler, I think one of the more shocking was Marcone and being one of the fallen.
That was like, boom.
Yeah. For sure.
In 1 minute, you went from thinking that one of your favorite anti-heroes, one of your favorite villains in the series, in 1 minute you go from thinking he's dead and not going to come back to just sitting up and, yeah, all right, shape, let's go.
Yeah, that is for sure one of my more shocking moments of the series so far, and I think it will be very interesting when Johnny meets Nicodemus, and to see the power and whether or not they decide to team up or not. Huh?
I would love to see. Oh, sorry.
I am totally rooting for Marcone at this one, but the dynamics on this.
Yeah. I would love to see a short story about like how he got like his decision Like that, I feel like that begs for a side story, if not like an entire freaking novel. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to know the time. Like, I admittedly really bad about timelines, but did he get the coin before or after joining the Accords? Like, is that how he got on the Accords because he was officially not human anymore?
Didn't we say it was, which coin was it again?
Namshiel's.
Amshiel.
Lamshiel. Okay, different person. Okay.
Yeah, it had to have happened after what was that, Deadbeat? When his coin was last seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're probably right. He probably wouldn't have been able to join the Accords without the coin. But given the fact that he's so wonderfully in manipulation that he can hide it from the entire world for so long and then decide to pull it out at the most desperate time, literally on his deathbed, and freak everybody out is quite something.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of the greatest moments in the series. I just, speaking of like other shocking moments, I thought we were going to lose Mab on the bridge at one point with all of the iron. I'm like, is he going to do it? And because we all know that Harry would never kill Molly, even if that did happen.
I think he would have,
been ordered to do it.
Oh, really? I think he would have. I don't think he would have liked it, but I think he would have. Like, if he knew it was going to break reality to not kill Molly, I think he'd have done it at this point. Like, he's not the same guy he was even 3 books ago or 2 books ago. He's different. And I think when Mab made it clear that Molly being the queen would end the world, Harry would take that into account. So I'm glad he didn't have to make that decision.
Yet. There is always that yet. And I think if Mab does die and Molly does become queen and Harry is faced with that decision, if he goes through with it, everybody in the Carpenter family is going to hate him. And they're going to go all out on him. Just to try to understand why he had to do that. And I don't know if Harry would ever explain it.
It would. He probably wouldn't emotionally, mentally last long after he had to do something like that. It would break him.
Like he isn't broken after losing the last 2 lovers?
He's also got his daughter to look out for.
Yeah.
True.
Speaking of lost loves, oh my gosh. Okay, so when we were reading Peace Talks, Tim and I actually joked about, oh, he finally hooked up with Karen. She's gonna die now. And it was funny until...
It wasn't?
It wasn't. Yeah.
I have not ugly cried over a book character since Dumbledore. And I don't think I cried that hard over Dumbledore either. So, like, oh my God, maybe it was a pandemic, but I was a wreck.
I was super upset over it, but yet at the same time, I knew it had to happen because Karen would just keep hurting herself and hurting herself and hurting herself, getting in over her head, but yet still continuing to go regardless of what anybody else said.
You're right.
And it wasn't foreshadowed. I mean, we kind of all knew it was going to happen eventually, and it just happened to be, out of that jerk's, bad trigger discipline. Come on.
Having a human kill Murphy was an interesting choice, along with after going through all of the battles she's going through, having somebody who she probably knew, I don't really remember, but having that happen was unbelievable. I remember on some of the Dresden forums when people got to that moment, they would take a picture of the book and said that book is staying in the corner for a little bit, and they never really gave out any spoilers. I remember getting to that part, being alone in the car on the drive home.
Oh.
and when I got to that point, because I listened to James read it all the way, and yeah, it was like, and I had nowhere to pull off because I'm on a busy highway, and I just had to keep sailing through. I'm like, wow, kill your number 2, huh, Jim? So it was quite the experience, and yeah, I don't think there's been another character's huge, like, shocking death in all of the books I've read, probably since Dumbledore as well. But I kind of saw Dumbledore's coming, like we did with Murphy, and I think Murphy had a good run, and I like the fact what they did for the funeral and the way they honored her and stuff. The other moment, of course, which I didn't really find to be interesting all that much, was why Thomas and Justine, especially Justine, is what she is. I'm like, okay. So I think he's trying to set up more for the Apocalypse series than he is for the next couple of books. I think everybody who's locked away on the island is the answers to the final 3 books of the series and the All-Out War.
Now,
And I don't think we're gonna see Thomas until the end. I really don't.
You guys think that Thomas was actually trying to tell Harry that there was a problem with Justine, but all he could manage to get out was Justine?
That was the impression that Harry seemed to have.
Yeah. At least that was the impression that I got, especially after re-listening or rereading them later after you find out what's going on, that he's trying to tell Harry what's going on, and that Justine is not who she was anymore, or who she appears to be.
And she's kind of similar to Murphy in that she's been able to survive as a vanilla mortal in a supernatural world way too effectively. And so looking back, it kind of makes sense, you know, hindsight being what it is. Yeah, there's something going on with her, and there's flags there. And so, yeah, looking back, the evidence was there, I think. And so I wasn't disappointed that she was one of the walkers. It's just one of those things where it is what it is.
Yeah.
I have to say that the whole like Nemesis Walker thing is one of the pieces that I'm like most excited for in the coming books. That and the whole Starborn thing. I just like, ooh, it keeps getting like little nibbles, but not enough information, and I want to know it all. I want to know.
Well, it's kind of like Mac's story too. We got yet just another little piece of Mac's story, and I think Jim is going to hold on to him and tell the final 3. I think Mac is something big, and what he is, we know he's more than likely not human, but what he is has always been an interest of mine. And how do you keep a apron so white when you're dealing with grease every single day of your life, making all those delicious sandwiches?
And we met 2 other Starborns in these books, with finding out that
Yeah, cool.
Dracul was a Starborn, as well as Listen. I think it was.
Listen, yeah.
So people are trying to grab up these Starborns for their side. Dracul being one is a very interesting thing because it kind of points to his human origin. But yeah,
But knowing that Listen is also one, I thought was really interesting because it lets us know that like there's like more than one at a time. Like, I mean, Dracul could, who, you know, he's obviously super, super old, but Listen must be the same age as Harry then, right?
You would have to
Could
be.
be.
He would have to be. And then, so that means like how many are born every 666 years?
and what was what's her name? His girl that was with Justin DeMorn with him. She's one, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Elaine?
Elaine, yes. Because I think their birthdays were very close to each other.
That's possible.
Maybe that's why DeMorn wanted the both of them.
Could be. Could very well be. And we got to also learn about what stars and stones really mean, too.
Ebenezer was really upset when Harry used the phrase Hell's Bells, Stars and Stones, and Empty Night. So they're all probably related.
Yeah.
Right.
I know the White Court uses Empty Night as their curse for, things.
Does the White Court use it, or do just Laura and Thomas use it? Because, like, with their position in the Venatori?
Yeah.
Like, maybe they're clued in on some more stuff than
the other White Court people. They're all just minor people in the background. We never really interact much with them.
That's true.
For very long. So you don't get to hear them swear or whatever. So we don't know.
That is true.
Speaking of swearing, Michael's rampage at the end was brilliant. Just brilliant. Probably the most holiest man we've ever met in the series, just losing it all. Was really, really fun. It was a nice way to relieve the tension of what we had just gone through, because we were barely breathing through the entire battlegrounds once it really started going. And we had the little bit of humor at the beginning with Tutun and the pizza, but after that moment, once things started happening, we never really got a breather until Harry is with Michael, and then Michael just loses it. So it was nicer to have a moment of relief before really finding out that how more screwed Harry really is going forth, not only with the wedding, but dealing with what's going on with his brother, of course, everything on the island, which
and
is
being
going
off the
to
council.
explode.
Yeah,
And
the council.
he never wanted to be there originally, anyways.
No. Does anybody think he's potentially going to start some sort of like alternative to the White Council?
Oh, I think
Yeah, it will be called we'll call the Butters Council.
I mean, because he's already got kind of a thing going, like with the Paranet. Like,
yeah, he's always been really annoyed at the White Council for just ignoring all these beneath them ability people. Unless they become warlocks, they don't even bother with them, and he's been very annoyed about that.
Yeah. And like the White Court can't tell him to stop practicing magic. He's the freaking Winter Knight. Like, obviously he's going to be using his wizard power.
they can try, and I think that's what we got with Ebenezer. But as far as him putting his own council together, I think the Paranet is going to be his council.
It feels like really good timing that he got that castle.
Yeah.
With the basketball court?
I think that's going to be headquarters just as much as it's going to be home.
Right.
But he also reflected during Battlegrounds how he felt that he personally failed Chicago and didn't do enough to begin with. And so I think he's going to take a much more active role in preparing members of Chicago to kind of defend themselves or organize some sort of, possible force that could deal with supernatural threats.
That is, if Molly and Mab allow him to do so. Remember, he might be a married man by the next time we meet him.
And we did first see the effects of somebody carrying a banner of sorts. Both him and Marcone creating their own group of followers that were linked to them. So it was an interesting take, and those people aren't going to forget it.
Yeah.
That is kind of also a scary moment too. Kind of reminds me of like taking over the willpower of people and just that whole thing, controlling other people, which I would think Harry would definitely be against at all costs. That sounds like something Mab would do or any of the Fallen would do.
I don't know if it necessarily was control, though. Like, more like a beacon to those who would want to step up. Like, a magical assist. Like,
kindred spirits.
Yeah. Because in any kind of crisis, there's always going to be those people that step forward and want to help. So it was just sort of like they were called in. Less control, but more like sensed it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and on the flip side, you get the people who freak out in those situations, like we did with the death of Murphy. And my question is now, do you think that Harry is ever going to cross paths with the guy who killed Murphy again? And if so, do you think he's going to let him get away?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out. Like, we have all kind of, I think, everyone sort of thought he was on Marcone's payroll. Like Harry always seemed to just assume that whoever was in the CPD that was messing with him and Karen was Marcone's people. Now it's pretty, like, maybe not clear, but it's very possible that they were on Fillmore payroll. Like, it was, the Fillmore or somebody else trying to get Harry out of the way before the attack. So, like, who had that guy under their control?
I think what happened to him personally, going back through all of the interactions with him in the series, he started off as being one of Murphy's most hardcore supporters, and he was there shoulder to shoulder with them during a raid on some vampire nest or something, some sort of I can't remember the exact story, but he is willing to throw his life down for Murphy. And since then, I think something bad happened to him psychically. Other characters have received sort of psychic damage from interacting with the supernatural world, and I think he didn't deal with it like everybody else did. I think it tore him apart.
Oh, that would be a good explanation. Very good explanation.
That deserves a slice of pizza.
Make sure to get Harry on that right away.
And for everybody else that's been around Harry, that's received these sort of psychic assaults and has had Harry to help him through it, whereas he didn't have anybody to kind of help explain things or help kind of heal from the damage. That's my theory.
That or he didn't seek it. he could be one of those people who decided what I saw isn't real.
Yep.
And I don't need help, because there are those kind of people in the world, and he might be one of those people who is so traumatically damaged that he doesn't believe that what he's been through is real, or what he knows of reality. So he'll just ignore it. And then when the catastrophic event has come up, like what happened, he flips out because he's having all of those flashbacks to not getting help through the things that he went through.
But there was that bit where the APB on Harry went out before the attack. Somebody wanted him off the board, like, before everything went down at the peace talks. So it makes me think that somebody was trying to take him out, like, take him out of the game, have him locked in a jail cell or something.
Yeah. Well, he's been wanted for a while for things that haven't been answered, and Harry always finds his way of not having time to deal with being locked away because he is too busy eating pizza. Or
doesn't have time for those petty human world things like legal trouble.
Right. That's why I thought.
Pulled a similar card on him when she was trying to blackmail Karen when after they invaded her nest, and she tried to use the mortal authorities to interfere. And so since she was also involved in this, it might have been just a rehash of something that she's already done.
Yeah, very true. Speaking of the peace talks and the table, man, there was a lot of power in that room. When you look at it, I don't think we've seen that much power in one room probably since we visited the White Council. But there was a lot of magic power.
I don't think even the White Council could compare to the amount of power in that particular room.
No, it might have
talking about gods and immortal
dragons
and dragons.
Yeah, even Bob himself mentioned that Ferrovax is capable of breaking the world, literally, just by his mere presence.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he said during after the peace talks went down, is like, I can't do a lot. I will break the world if I do this. So here's what I can do.
Right. Yeah, and I think another amazing moment in peace talks was seeing Mab with ease being thrown through multiple walls by a god, just out of the blue. Like, holy crap! How could you even touch Mab with having magic? And to not only take her through solid old brick walls of the castle that is enforced by magic on top of it is pretty scary, and just adds to the amount of how much magic is in that room at that time. And then of course losing a couple people along the way too.
I wonder how different it would have been if they picked like any other day, because it was the day that she was weakest, where it was a summer solstice or something where she was weakest. So if it was winter solstice, I wonder how that would have been different.
Summer solstice. I don't think that was an accident.
Oh no, it was very much on purpose.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to think, like, you know, how much more ass she could have kicked if it was the height of her power.
Right.
And also with the assault on the outer gates, the Lananchi been given a portion of her power as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a couple people who I was surprised weren't in the room, like the gatekeeper. Maybe he's just too busy with trying to stop people coming in through the gate, and that's why he didn't show up at peace talks. But it was also interesting to see the Sasquatch there, and his major help. So that was interesting, pulling him from the short stories and finally giving him some more beef with Harry, and taking on some black. I think it was the first time we saw Black Court vampires.
I think that it was an interesting take with River Shoulders being comic relief. I did not expect all the humor in the book to come from River Shoulders. I mean, the comment about introducing him to the world using Ramirez as a ventriloquist kind of
Tell
thing.
me.
Yeah, I mean, or all the comments about him forgetting his glasses. That's why all the cops were going to be upset with, seeing him. I mean, these things are they're absolutely ridiculous, and they're perfectly placed to kind of release that tension after those battles.
That
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of the whole Harry and the Hendersons, honestly.
Yeah,
That old sitcom.
yeah.
It brought that old sitcom to mind. I'm like, really?
Even Harry's comment about "Hey, ugly" was fantastic, because I think that's what he said to the White Court vampire in one of the short stories. So I thought that was great synergy, and then he was giving Harry crap for it.
Yeah.
I'm
I
excited to see Harry train with River Shoulders, because I'm pretty sure that's going to happen now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
There's going to be no more hiding this star thing from
right.
He's like, this is enough. You are not hiding this from me anymore. You are going to tell me what this is, and you are going to help me.
Well, I mean, geez, they kicked him off the White Council, so now he can't even demand that the other wizards fill him in. So he's gonna have to find it all out for himself. Although, kind of, I got the impression that that's part of the package. If you notice, every time it comes up, people are like, "Oh, I can't tell you." Well, one of the guys was like, wasn't one of the wizards said something about he wasn't sure he was smart enough to tell him?
Yeah, that was Listens to Wind.
Yeah.
And he did make a deal with Harry, so I'm wondering if that deal will be binding.
I don't know.
It probably is. Usually magical bindings are pretty legit.
Yeah.
It have huge repercussions if you break it. But what also I found interesting is Jim decided to drop the short story at the end of Battlegrounds, the one that we got to read first before these two books, to have the ending yet again. And I guess he did that because it just makes more sense, and we get to see Chris Kringle again, and the whole daughter growing up in a Disney-fied world that Matt really loves.
So glad that that short story came out before, just, I don't know, it was just a tiny piece of kindness, but it was so nice to know that we didn't have to worry about his kid. Yeah, especially in that scene where they're trying to convince him that his daughter's dead, and it's like, wait, no, we know she lives. We know she lives.
The reader knows.
Yeah, I would have been way more stressed out, having not read that beforehand.
Yeah.
So, what did people think about the the big fight between Harry and his grandfather. And do we think that the Black Staff's actually gonna carry out his execution?
I think he's going to try.
I think Marcone is going to try. I think he really is going to try, because I think the Blackstaff is very, very tired of all of the shit that has been gone through with Harry. That he's gone through with Harry. I think it's very evident that Ebenezer holds a massive grudge against him after what happened down on the docks. How could Ebenezer not see through something like that the way Harry designed that battle? You're talking about probably the most powerful wizard outside of the head of the council getting manipulated by a guy you trained. Yeah, so he's part of the Winter Court. But I think Ebenezer should have seen through that, and I don't think he's going to let Harry off with ease. Harry's going to have to do something dramatic to get it back in Ebenezer's favor. And I don't think Ebenezer is going to give him a chance to do that. I think they're going to have to stay apart from each other. Otherwise, we're going to have another even worse battle than we did down on the docks.
Yeah. I get why he didn't do it. I wish he would have told his grandfather sooner. Especially because, I don't know, it just, that whole thing just frustrated me so much. It's just, this is what secrets do.
Yeah.
Well, he dealt with the same thing about not telling Michael about Molly. He kept that secret forever too.
Secret.
Well, yeah. But, that wasn't his tale to tell.
Yeah.
Even though they suspected something was different.
They can suspect all they want, but until Molly tells them, he can't. That's my take on that is it's not his secret to share.
Yeah.
He can't share that until Molly gives him leave to.
That scene when they went home for dinner, though, was really freaky.
But
that was so the Carpenters.
Mm-hmm.
Michael is, kind of buddy with Uriel, and I'm sure he knew what was going on. So it would be silly that they didn't talk about such things.
Yeah. I think he probably suspected it, if not beforehand, when they were in the vault. And Michael saw that statue that looked like his daughter.
Yeah, he's like, what's going on here? Molly.
So who do you think is going to host the third sword? Because we only have 2 in play. There's going to be all 3 in play by the end.
Honestly, my take is that, and this kind of goes to another idea of what I think might happen, is they kind of set it up where Butter's sword can kill spiritual things without killing human things, which is exactly what Thomas needs. It needs to have his demon killed without killing Thomas. And I think Thomas is going to be...
I was just thinking something like that Thomas would become a knight after having the demon taken care of.
I don't know if... that would be cool if Thomas can deal with the loss of, all his supernatural vampire mojo. He's already prone to being super emo in the first place. Can you not see him, holding up, feeling sorry for himself for, a decade because he's not, strong and fast and magically good looking?
Except he'll become, a knight, which will fill in some of those gaps.
Yeah.
I think Jim is mean, and he's going to just kill him.
No.
That's also a very likely possibility.
I mean, Jim is a Slytherin, so he has mentioned it.
But
It could be Michael's son that gets the sword. I mean, isn't he in the military right now?
Daniel, right?
Yeah, the oldest kid, the oldest
Yeah, the
boy.
one in the military with the married and a child on the way.
Yeah. I mean, he's a grown up now.
That made it a point to mention that following in his father's footsteps.
It's entirely possible. I mean, if it provided, Michael might have some feelings about that, but like not wanting his kid to be in the kind of danger he was always in. But I don't know, family tradition.
He's already kind of put himself in danger already.
That's true.
He did on several occasions, actually. Got himself directly into the danger that either Harry brought or Michael brought to close to the house, or because of who Michael and Harry were, the trouble came to the Carpenter house.
Well, he was also very active in Ghost Story as one of the main defenders of Chicago against the Fillmore.
Yeah, he had.
I got it. The one who should wield the sword is Toot Toot.
You know, he's growing.
Molly would love this idea.
No, we're not doing that.
He is getting bigger. I mean, he was 30 inches tall in Battlegrounds. A far cry from the 12-inch tall one when we met him.
Growth spurt, huh?
Speaking of Molly, she has been so busy. Like raising armies, like outfitting the little people with their art. Like Molly's got her hands in all kinds of things.
Well, she did say that she's catching up on decades.
Yeah, 100-year backlog.
100-year backlog from Maeve.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's sleeping at all.
I hope there's a few more like short stories about her Winter Lady exploits.
I would love to see more with what she's doing and whatnot.
I mean, honestly, I could see an entire book series about her, after Harry's story is done. Like that could easily be a whole nother thing.
Yeah, I think Molly is trying to get through all of the paperwork before getting more deals and paperwork thrown at her, because Mab isn't going to do any of that stuff. And I think Mab is deliberately trying to keep Molly busy and out of it, so she never gets to be queen. And I don't think in her life that she'll ever see that. So,
well, Mab's got to hold reality together, so it's probably nice that Molly actually does her job.
Right.
Speaking of queens not doing their job, I was very upset at how little Titania's been doing lately.
I know.
I mean, yeah, whatever happens. But I mean, I get it. You lost your daughter, but come on, you got a job to do.
She's got a bigger battle to worry about. The whole demon reach thing she'll probably help with. Plus, she would have been in season had it been midsummer. It was midsummer, so she would have been at her full power. Yeah. So, yeah.
And so we get out of all of these books, she gets in like one battle with Ethneo at the peak of her power, and they kind of get their butts kicked. But that's pretty much all we've seen from Titania in the books, other than her yelling at Harry about being a jerk.
Because Harry is a jerk. We all know Harry is a jerk.
You don't have to point it out.
Does anybody love that like sexist Harry Dresden is now like has to have a politically advantageous marriage to a powerful woman to basically have safety and security? Like,
serves him right.
It's hard not to. I mean, he's even aware of it, but like, marrying Laura is going to be, I mean, he kind of has to. Like, even if Mab wasn't making him, he kind of has to, because so many people are going to be gunning for him.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
marrying into the White Court is going to be good for him.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Bob is going to mock him all the way to his grave for it, too.
Bob better hope he's not part of the dowry.
But Bob is owned by...
He'd be part of the dowry.
Isn't Bob owned by Butters still?
I think Butters officially gave him back.
Oh.
Officially,
All
nobody's
right.
supposed to know that Harry has Bob, so I don't know that Laura knows.
Yeah.
I'm
No more internet for Bob, then, if he's back with Harry.
I was kind of hoping in these peace talks and battlegrounds that we would have gotten more from Bonnie.
That's the name I was trying to think of. The new little spirit.
Who's got all of the intelligence or all of the knowledge of Harry and Lashiel combined, just doesn't have the social skills to do much with it.
Yeah, we haven't really seen much of her since the attack of the where he was living.
Yeah, after the pancake incident.
Yeah, after the pancake
That was so cute.
She was. she basically went into the back room, and then we never see her again.
Right.
Do you think with Harry owning the castle that the people who cleaned his original place will have to clean the castle? Is that deal still going on for him? Or is Harry left on his own to clean up his own castle?
He's marrying a billionaire. I'm pretty sure he's going to have household staff in that castle. Like, even before the wedding happens, Laura's going to have that place, like, decked out with a full complement of security. Like, she can't be seen. Like, they have to be publicly courting. She can't be seen with some disheveled schlub. So she's going to clean him up and turn him out.
I can totally see it too.
And Molly is going to be so behind that. Like, she might not like Laura, but she's going to be like, oh yes, you need a decent wardrobe and some furniture.
And all Harry will want to do is just play basketball in his basketball court.
Yes.
Is it me or did you guys get the feeling that it seems like in every book Harry gets taller and taller? Right now I think he's at 6'9".
Wasn't he always at like 6'9"?
I thought he was like 6'7".
6'7", true.
But now he's like, almost 7 feet tall.
It was, I guess,
He'll be 7 for the wedding.
Almost 7 feet tall.
Well, after all the bones that he's broken, and I mean, I'm sure that kind of affects
been the other way around.
Density and stuff. So
maybe he'll be.
It should be the other way around. He should be shrinking a little bit.
I don't know, when the Fae rebuild your spine, does it make you taller?
Maybe he'll be as tall as River's shoulders is when he gets married.
Apparently, he was still a growing boy. Didn't he say something about he still had like how many years before he actually hit the appearance he would have for the next couple hundred years or whatever of his life? So
yeah, he hasn't even hit like
boy.
wizard middle age yet.
Yeah, maybe he's still a growing boy. I don't know.
We just got conjuritis.
Yeah,
that's true. He had no idea what it was, and he still really doesn't either.
Nobody told him.
Nobody. Everyone keeps laughing at him and telling him, "You have this really at your age," and then they don't know anything more about it.
I mean, to me,
it's mocking.
The first thing he'd ask Bob after "What's a starborn?" is, "What's conjuritis?"
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get the answer to that, along with Stars and Stones and more of Starborn's stuff too. So it will be interesting to see where Jim takes us next in the next couple of books leading up to the grand finale ending. However long it takes him to read it, he says Jim has says he's been living with Harry for 25 years, and he's like that roommate that will never go away. So I think he's getting close to being happy that Harry's story is wrapping up. Maybe in the end he'll kill off Harry and that will be it.
And it's interesting is like how long ago he wrote his other books, like the Codex of Alera. I almost forget that it's the same author. Because I mean, you've got Jim Butcher, who is like the Harry Dresden books. That's what he is, and you almost forget that he's wrote this entire series before it, and he's already starting and working on the second book of another series. So he is pursuing other things, but he really likes spiders in his books.
Yeah, that's for sure. So the comments are coming in. Do you have a mister behind you there, Tim?
I've got 3 cats, and they're all wandering around and annoying my dog. So that's why I've been muting, is because every time my dog wants to go chase after them and bark. So coincidentally, one is named Milan, and another one is named Katai, after one of the characters in Codex of Alera.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So it will be quite interesting to see where Jim takes Dresden next and what his plan is. I think he hasn't planned everything out, and from the interview he gave right after Battleground, it sounds like what he likes to do is explore an idea that he'll write it out and then maybe add it in. So I think he is a very organic writer who likes to make little plot points, but he would like to explore areas first before deciding. And I think that's why he's toying with the idea of playing around with other characters than Harry after Harry's story is told. He did mention that he's doing that.
Sorry. Do you guys think that maybe we might see more of like Hades and some of the other gods show up as this continues?
I think so, and I think that's all going to come down to the Apocalypse trilogy. I think he's going to do all of the gods.
I think we'll see some more of the gods. I would love to see Hades again.
Oh yeah.
I think Hades is going to want revenge after what they stole, and I don't know if we'll see him before the Apocalypse trilogy, but I think we're going to see more and more gods in the last couple of books. It wouldn't surprise me, just with being between the worlds, and I have a feeling that Mother Winter and Mother Summer are going to make a reappearance too at the end. We're going to see huge magic being thrown, and the Gatekeeper will be there, and everybody's going to be there.
I think that Mother Winter's going to take back her staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think it was River Shoulders who casually dropped that the Janasqua is still around and ticking.
Oh, the Corner Hounds.
Oh yeah.
Kind of also reminded me of those hunters. The
huntsmen?
The huntsmen, yeah. Kind of like the same line of things, just a different type of beast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that concept of, you have to kill them all and they keep getting bigger and
and he could potentially come at you from your own car.
That was a delightful mental image of like, being in a car that suddenly becomes a clown car full of monsters.
Didn't they have like a Ghostbusters thing or something like that? One of the thing had something coming out of something like that. I don't know.
Maybe they can rewrite Dresden's Beetle again.
But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have like, enemies coming from another reality, then they should, I don't know, be surreal.
Have the Beetle instead of the hearse that he now is forced to drive around.
The Monster Mobile.
I love the Monster Mobile.
During the fight with the Corner Hounds, I found it interesting that was like the first mention of using a ring of fire to supercharge a circle. Out of all the situations that Harry's been in involving fire, it took that many books to mention that, hey, you can supercharge a circle with fire.
Because Harry is dumb and unexperienced, and everybody else knew that. It's another one of, hey, stupid.
Yeah. I think we're gonna see him in this next book of like the year following Battlegrounds, probably him immersing himself in a lot of training. I think he's really, in addition to growing up, I think he's realizing that he has more education than he needs.
Yeah, he needs to get a hold of a bunch of old books and start studying.
Or just ask Bob.
But then he's spent the last how many years bouncing from one, like, disaster to the next. He hasn't really had time to. Well,
no, he has
do self-care.
He has a castle. He has resources. He has time. He needs to rebuild his arsenal. He needs to go to therapy. He needs to
eat pizza.
He needs to build his army. He's got a lot of things on his plate for this next year, but I think
raise his daughter.
Pretty good for him too, though.
Yeah, Harry's got a lot to do. Maybe he'll just push it off on his future wife or get Grasshopper to do it for him.
Grasshopper already has too much to do.
Yeah, she can't.
Sorry, Harry, you got more. You gotta do it yourself. I'm too busy.
He tends to find people to do that for him, though. So there is that, and it's quite something.
Looks like we've got just a couple minutes left. Are there any final points?
I guess the final points are looking forward to more and seeing where it goes and what actually happens, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how Jim wraps up the series over the next couple of years or so. Hopefully it will be a longer than a couple. But Tim, do you have anything? Otherwise we can wrap this up. Any last thoughts?
I think that just really glad that he's back into the series and that we don't have to wait 5 or 6 years before the next book. I think that's my favorite part about this.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, thank you guys so much for joining for the panel discussion of 20 years of Dresden Files. Of course, there are other events coming up on this channel and other channels throughout this weekend for MarsCon weekend, and as well as you can find more on MarsCon's YouTube page, on Discord, and make sure you check out the charity auction. You can buy Girl Scout cookies too, and hopefully all of us will be together next year in person. Yes. And we'll have to see if we want to do another Dresden Files panel in person next year and
Obvious.
talk more.
Of course
So-
we do.
Of course.
We
So
actually
how about we just all come back next year to MarsCon in person, and
Same
we'll
bat
do
time, same bat channel.
yeah.
Maybe next time there will be pizza.
Ooh.
I will get Harry.
Toot Toot's right. I hear Toot Toot's going to bring it this year, next year, right?
Toot toot. Yes, you must do that.
I think now he's got a new costume that I need to start working on. Is that what you're saying?
There you go.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
and-
whoever's all watching us talk to each other. Hopefully, see you guys next year. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do we want to do that last question here, or are we out of time completely?
We are out of time.
I think we are probably out of time.
So, all right. So we'll save that question for next year. Take care.
We'll think about it.
Bye, MarsCon.
Bye.
It's fun.